Hello! I've bundled all three of my Handyman videos showcasing the tools I use day to day into one longer form video. So here it is, voila, enjoy! If you do repairs for yourself at home or for someone else, this will interest you. Because if I could outfit someone with a basic set of tools that are effective, efficient, light, mobile for most small repairs and installations, it would look something like this. I'm a full-time handyman. Above all, I'm a problem solver. I'm called in to find the source of a problem, and if I can't fix it, I'll find someone who can for my clients who rely on me to take care of their homes, apartments, and businesses. It fits into a sort of gray area called maintenance, repairs, and installations. Since my work requires me to be mobile, I prefer traveling with a lighter set of tools. Over the years, I tried bigger, heavier tools, more specialized with added features and functions, which add weight to the total kit. I sometimes have to park some ways from the repair site and carry my tools with me, sometimes into tight spaces, sometimes up flights of stairs. So my kit has slowly evolved over the years to be as functional and adaptable as possible. And this is what I'd like to share with you. Apart from one toolkit, which is mostly for plumbing, one for repair cafe events, and yet another bag which carries bulkier, heavier items and fits into the back of my car. Everything fits in this 17-inch open tool bag, 6 internal pockets and 14 external pockets. I slightly modified my bag by riveting 2 extra tool holders, one for my multi-bit screwdriver, the other for drivers I often need. We'll get to that. The foam which wraps around the tubular metal handle is the first thing to wear out. So I put some foam pipe insulation and secured it with duct tape. There are usually plastic caps which serve as feet. These are the second thing to go, along with the lining at the bottom of the bag. That's an even greater problem than the handle, because if some of your sharp tools start poking at the bottom and they scratch a client's floor, that's not good. So check your bottom. Also, I keep some hand cream in my bag because the dust really plays a number on my hands. They get rough and dry and chapped and cracky and I keep 2 power tools in here. A battery powered drill and a reciprocating saw. This saw is an old 12-volt model, underpowered, utilizing a battery system which has been discontinued, but is light and compact enough to carry with me. Plus, some extra blades in a case. Yeah, about this. If you've seen any of my videos, you'll notice that the battery-powered tools I use are mainly Rigid brand tools. This goes way back when I bought my first good set of battery-powered tools. There was this entire box on sale, including a large impact drill, an impact driver, a circular saw, still have it up there, but it's really beat up and bent out of shape, a flashlight, a small radio, a double charger, and 2 18-volt batteries, and a big satchel. Once you own a decent set of tools, the next tool you'll eventually buy will likely be one which will be compatible with the batteries you already have. And when you'll need a new battery, it'll be one which will fit the tools you own. It's a cycle. This cycle could have as easily been started by Milwaukee, DeWalt, or Makita if one of those brands have had that type of sale, and it would have caught my eye. Then I'd be holding red, yellow, or blue plastic instead of this orange one. I do own tools made of different colored plastic, and I happily use them. But because of the proprietary nature of these battery configurations, I'm stuck with the orange plastic. Some will happily take a dump on you if you don't own the correctly colored plastic according to them. I'd say find tools you can afford, which fit the type of work you do, and keep an open mind. this can probably apply to more than just power tools, but I digress. Next is a set of drill bits. Don't get too attached to these. They're expendable. They'll wear out, they'll break, you'll lose some, you'll lend some, sometimes they'll never be returned. Eventually it'll be replaced by a new set, which might be any half-decent brand. I use one multi-bit screwdriver, which I'm looking for right now. Oh, goodness. A Pickwick. This Pickwick 6 has all the bits I need for most jobs. Comfortable handle, hardened bits, which are stored securely inside the handle. Just how securely takes some getting used to, but if you work with your hands, the strain of releasing the bits from the handle is worth the effort. Bonus, these are manufactured in Vancouver. One small 1/8 inch screwdriver, flathead. Sometimes I just need this one small screwdriver, just this one. Both the Pickwick and this little guy right here fit into this holster I cut from a previous bag I'd retired. Cut to shape and riveted right here. Easy access. Same principle for this bit holder with bits that I regularly use. Take a look at this odd little hammer. It's a Stanley demolition hammer. I think they're called Fat Max now and they're painted yellow. It does a lot of stuff for me. It hammers, of course, pulls nails, though not effectively as a real claw hammer, but I rarely use nails. You're supposed to use this part for demolition, and this part fits snugly around 2-inch thick lumber to adjust it. On several occasions, I fastened the claw around a stud and used this as a step. But this end, used as a lever, has been essential to my work to pry something open, lift a door, even lift a sheet of gyprock into position. This tool has been with me forever, and my palms have worn. There's so much of my sweat and blood in here. We've been together a long time. Getting all emotional now. A super basic, light and dependable utility knife with extra blades. I usually carry 1 or 2 wood chisels, a 1/2 inch and 1 inch wide. These are mainly used to fit doors, hinges, handles, and knocking chunks of wood around. I've got a buddy in Toronto, Sean, who builds furniture in his shop, and he sent me a video of one of his new chisels slicing through wood. Almost one of those ASMR things, with the sound of steel sliding through wood, taking a sliver from a perfectly cut indentation. So I sent him a video of me knocking mortar out from between bricks with one of my chisels. Sean might never recover. These can be sharpened. I can sort of sharpen these to the point where I can cut butter, but apart from Sean, there are 2 people I know personally who are masters at sharpening. They're absolutely gleeful about it. There's Pat Lapp, who gets giddy when he's sharpening on his specialized devices. You can sense his joy. And Jesse from Rain Dance Bushcraft, who sharpens an axe to the point where he shaves with it. On camera, I've seen this. They're both active on social media. Look them up. Next, a good measuring tape. Don't get something oversized and heavy. The type of work I do, 25 feet is perfect. And if you don't absolutely need to measure in centimeters, go with standard only. In Canada, we converted to metric in the 70s, but when it comes to building materials, we still use standard, sometimes called imperial. I've got an entire video up about measuring tapes. I'll link to that. It's the humble tape measure, which is as important, if not more, than a hammer and a saw. In the pliers and snips department, these childlike pliers. I think these could be called linesman pliers, but they're so small to keep weight down to a minimum. And needle nose pliers for more delicate work, or more precise work, I just need these sometimes. Tin snips and wire strippers to strip and cut wire. Woo. 2 locking pliers, commonly called vice grips. One small, one large. Sometimes you need 2 of these to unscrew some weird threaded thing, and sometimes you need a small vice grip. This big small combo works for me. I also carry an adjustable wrench with a 1-inch jaw, small plumbing stuff. A small level. This one has magnetized inserts. Now, this amazing little tool made right here in Quebec by a company called Richard. It's called a lever bar scraper. It's made of some sort of magical hardened metal which will not bend. It'll spring, but it'll snap before bending. So you can use this to scrape, pry, cut, and resharpen the edges. It's essential. Right next is a 2-inch putty knife. It's also made by the Richard company, with enough flex for those little scraping and puttying jobs. These are sets of, these still have gaffer tape on them from this past summer. We couldn't show any tool names or brands. Yeah, these are sets of hex keys, sometimes called Allen keys. 1 metric, 1 standard. Also, this 1 singular hex key, 8 millimeters. Use this only for the removal of valve seats in faucets. A handy little scraper, ultra basic with extra blades. Hanging off the side here, usually, is a roll of electrical tape. It'll be yellow, blue, red, and some Teflon tape for plumbing. I have got a video, of course, about Teflon tape, so I'll link to that. An old plumber taught me this trick.
Plumber's tape or Teflon tape, polytetrafluoroethylene or PTFE.
Also, a roll of painter's tape, which I keep in a baggie to get all the dust off of it, and it sort of protects the edges too. I use silicone and glues from tubes with a caulking gun. But what I carry with me is this flexible all-purpose sealant. Goes on like silicone, smells like caulking, remains clear and flexible, and sticks like crazy. Speaking of sticking like crazy, CA glue or cyanoacrylate. Apart from sticking stuff together, there's lots of other stuff you can do with this. I have a couple of videos you can watch after this. Cotton batting and CA glue and filling up the hole. Some sort of spray lubricant, mostly for locks and other moving parts. You've got a difficult keyway, pop a tube in here, stick it in your keyway, give it a little spritz, and run the key through the keyway a few times. That'll often fix the problem. Though WD-40 isn't really a lubricant, it's water displacement formula 40. It's a army thing dating like Second World War or something. It does a job, and I'll often have this in my bag with me. For most jobs, I'll use one very basic circuit tester. Sometimes it's a bit too basic because I keep a more complete tester in my car to test for resistance. But this one will give me AC and DC voltages, continuity, and it has a non-contact voltage indicator. Another tester, this one to check circuits directly from a wall receptacle. Simply plug it in and it'll diagnose a circuit for that socket. A fuse puller for those pesky 250 volt and 600 volt fuses, all safely tucked away in the satchel to keep the wires from getting snagged. Work gloves. These are sturdy-ish. These are sticky. If you're moving or helping a friend move, wear these. The rubberized surface adheres to whatever you're carrying and gives you the impression you're stronger. Also, some nitrile gloves to keep shit off your hands. Why not latex? Because latex melts when in contact with oil. And these black gloves, look. Look, so darn sexy. In one of these nitrile gloves, I usually carry one of these magic eraser pads to erase markings on walls and some of my mistakes. Pretty much the same philosophy applies to this wood stain marker. A sturdy pencil. I have to keep this in my bag because I don't have the ears for this. I applied for membership with the Guild of Craftspeople, but I failed the pencil over ear exam. Same thing with the Plumbers Association. I failed the butt crack audition. I'm not what they call butt endowed, whatever that means. This bare bones lock picking kit, not for everyone, not for everyday use, not for every occasion, but it comes in handy when a key is lost or some other emergency. I'll link to that too. Feeling and listening to the subtle click as they settle on the shear line, and the plug just releases a gazillionth of an inch till the lock eventually pops open. Then there's this box for smaller parts. A few extra drill bits, masonry bits which can be used in a pinch even with a non-percussion drill, though not ideal. A couple of carbide drills for ceramics, some spade bits, a couple of countersink drill bits, some driver bits of different types and sizes, adapters for sockets, and this 4mm hex wrench with the 90-degree bend removed. I use this to quickly assemble IKEA furniture. There are some useful parts like collars, cable connectors, wire nuts, what we call here in Quebec and parts of Canada, marettes, screws, washers, small leftover parts which I throw in here. A small metal file with the tapered handle stem removed. I've adjusted keys with this, but mostly I've used this to file the notches off the top of valve stems. Another oddity, this adjustable auger bit, which comes from this type of drill setup. This here. I cut the back end off to use in my drills, and I can even insert a larger blade to cut holes up to 3 inches in diameter. Oh, another one of my secret weapons, which I mainly use to find wall studs. I keep it inside this small container to keep it from sticking all over the place and picking up any bit of magnetic crap floating around. You know I've got a video about that too, right? Here, and it'll catch on to this screw or nail. This is a screw. And then there'll be one 16 inches away. And I also cut notches inside the cover to hold the straws for my lube containers. The 3 driver bits I use the most, Robertson 2 and 1 and Phillips 2, are nestled safely in a bit holder I designed and printed this past summer, usually held right here on the shoulder strap of my overalls. I also keep a small flashlight and a utility knife in the side pocket of my overalls. The flashlight is the ultra dependable Milwaukee 2105 100 lumen pen light. You know, in horror movies where the flashlight keeps flickering and their hero needs to keep smacking it to get it working again, and then all of a sudden that thing is right in front of him or her? Well, this flashlight never does that. Best thing though is something called the bite zone, this rubberized bit. And most of the time I'm working and I need more light. That's where the bite zone goes. And like Freud said, sometimes a flashlight is just a flashlight. Yeah, I think this about covers it for this toolkit. Everything fits neatly into this bag, and this bag fits into a console at the back of my car. I'm certain you all have your own set of specialized tools and you've developed your own tricks to make your life and your work easier. So I would love to hear what those tricks are. Please share with us. Thanks for watching and be careful out there, people. Bye. Hello again. A few weeks ago, I showed you what I use day to day, what I carry around to help me accomplish my job as a handyman, troubleshooter, and installer. In addition to this primary toolkit, I have this accompanying toolkit, which I only bring out for plumbing. But even these two don't cover everything I need for some plumbing repairs and installations. There's also this third tool bag, which fits deep in the back of my car's console. This is the just in case, nice to have, seldom used, and too heavy to carry around unless I really need it toolkit. A full-time plumber would find this assortment of tools cute. Professionals have trucks full of tools and parts, but for what I do, which is mostly small repairs like faucets, clogs, and installations, this is all I really need. First, the bag itself. Oh, some gloves to keep my hands pretty. The bag is an 8-inch tool tote with an assortment of pockets in and out. The original handle wore out completely and has been replaced with the old collar of a very special dog I adore. But let's start with this. Sometimes, less often now, I need to work with copper pipes, which often means soldering. Yes, where you live, the L is silent. That's okay. Do it your way. But do know that other people pronounce it differently. Sometimes it's solder, sometimes it's solder, sometimes it's solder. We all know what we're talking about. Potato, tomato, again. On those rare occasions that I need to solder, I use MAP Gas or MAP Pro with a high intensity torch head. This model doesn't have an integrated igniter, so I carry a striker. Many still call this MAP, though real MAP hasn't been available since 2007. I call it MAP when I'm hanging out with the old guys to act all cool and shit. Since I sometimes work with fire, I carry this with me at all times. No, actually, I carry this. But this is the extinguisher or the fire water extinguisher. There's an 18-minute cringe-inducing maker rock opera that I'll link to, and there's a homage to the 18-minute cringe-inducing maker rock opera, which I will also link to. Good luck with that. I also need leadless solder, some flux, and a brush to apply it. And some sort of device to remove the oxidation. This steel bristle brush and this aluminum oxide tape. It's we call it sandpaper, but it's not sand, it's aluminum oxide. Then there's my famous T-handle to maneuver water heaters. I'll link to that one too. Once this is threaded onto the top of a water heater, onto one of those protuberances, I can lift it straight out of a basement floor. Another type of home plumbing I deal with is PEX, short for cross-linked polyethylene. The flexible tubing is secured using copper crimp rings, which you slip over the pipe and use a PEX crimper. PEX is cut using this type of cutter, though honestly it wasn't in my bag. I use a utility knife to cut the PEX. Yeah. I carry some products like pipe thread sealant, which I haven't needed in the longest time, and it shouldn't even be in the bag. Teflon tape is a must, or polytetrafluoroethylene. Why do I know that?
plumber's
I
tape
made a
or
video on that, and I'll link to that right now.
or
So many
PTFE
extra
helps you get a
videos.
watertight seal on threaded connections. There are different types of tape. Regular plumber's tape, and of course the wildly popular re-edition of the pink Barbie tape. There are some do's and don'ts, but the most
My
important
main
thing...
kit has an 8mm hex wrench. I also carry this 6-step, 3 different sizes wrench for other valve seats, faucet seats, just in case. Large groove jaw pliers for fittings that even vice grips won't wrap around. An adjustable wrench to accompany the small one I keep in my main bag. A Pickwick screwdriver made in Canada. And I've got an assortment of different small tools to help me with fittings and such. Installing faucets and other plumbing things. Now comes the pièce de résistance, Rigid's easy change faucet tool and sink wrench. If there was a generic tool which wasn't brand specific, I named that one. When it comes to installations, this one tool makes my life so much easier. Here's another example. Or this, Rigid's easy change faucet tool. The cubed insert pops out. Plumbing's less elegant cousin often uses ABS. Used mostly for drain and waste. I use this to cut, even a circular saw, and just a regular utility knife to ream the inside of the pipes. And this to glue. Simple as that. I have a larger container, which I've replenished this one when it's low, but I keep a small one to keep the kit as compact as possible. Some tools which don't fit in any bag, but which I always have in my car with me. The uncloggerators, this heavy duty plunger, this toilet auger. I snipped the handle off, so I just fit this into my drill. And this Husky branded 25-foot auger, also with the drill. Can I interest you in a couple of videos about unclogging?
So you grab that shaft with both hands and forcefully jab it up and down, repeatedly and quickly.
And a drill, but I didn't need to use that either. I just need to poke it in and pull it out. But sometimes it's not just hair and not as easily accessible. Therefore, the mighty plunger. Almost last but not least, this, I don't know how many feet, hot water hose. Really made to drain water heaters. It's, I'd kiss it if it wasn't so disgusting. Also in the car, I have 2 parts organizers with cartridges and faucets. But this is what I carry most times when I'm being called in for a leaky faucet. Most times though, it stays in the car. Most of this fits in this bag, believe it or not. What doesn't fit in there are these things here. This, oh yeah, and this here. But this, right there. But this only accompanies the main bag. So when I'm carrying this, it's because I've got this one with me too. And everything fits in a console at the back of my car. Now you know what you need. Go out there and fix stuff. Oh, one last thing. I was challenged for the other video to prove that I could fit everything into that bag, which I'll get to. But while we're still here, let's do this bag. So pay close attention. here. I've got a special place for this guy here. Not happy with this. Not this. I have to rethink this every time. There we go. That's what I wanted. Good. So much empty space. Gloves. There we go. Thanks for watching. Bye. Well, hello again. Recently, I showed you what I carry with me to do most of my home and apartment repairs, in addition to this primary toolkit. And then we got to the plumbing kit. There we go. Which, you know, more specialized plumbing jobs. There's also another very big, heavy bag for bulkier items, which I don't use as much. But it all fits at the back of my very small car. How does it fit? Well, at the heart of it is a box, plywood 3/8 inch, which I called it the console. 32 by 43 inches, 14 inches high, because it fits in sideways. And I'm gonna show you how it all fits in. First thing, with the seats down, I lay out this old plastic tarp, tucking it under the spare wheel access cover and pushing some tarp into the handle hole thing. Next, I slide in a simple skid over the tarp. The forward section of the skid slides right into the space between the back seat and the headrest, and a chunk of wood slips into the hatchback floor spare tire access handhold where the tarp has been tucked in. This keeps everything in place. I can then slide in the console using cutout handles. Once in position, 2 screws keep the console centered. The fairly thin plywood assembled with glue, brad nails, and corner brackets is surprisingly sturdy. This tool bag of heavy, bulkier, less used tools and parts fits deep in the left side of the console. Next, the aluminum ladder. These 4 sections fold out and lock to make a 12-foot ladder, or you can use it in several configurations, including a classic A-frame step ladder and even a much shorter mini ladder. The ladder slides in neatly right here to the right of the vertical divider and becomes a sort of partition drawer where I store a medium tub of plaster compound and associated tools in one section, and a parts box of washers and O-rings, plus my power saw. Pushed all the way in, I can finally place my plumbing kit. On top are stored 2 parts boxes, which I modified so that their handles attach to the side. This way I can pull them out more easily and they fit side by side. They're held in place by wooden rails on both sides of the console. Behind that, a water hose made especially for hot water. It won't deform or soften with heat. In the center of the coiled hose, I keep an extension cord and fish tape. My primary toolkit slides in right here, easily accessible at all times. And on both sides of the console, you'll usually find an assortment of extra and special tools I'm carrying for specific jobs. And that's how we do it.
Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe if you want more. Cheers!
And bonus, a short vertical video, which is related and I repurposed into a horizontal format for this occasion. I need to quickly tie up a loose end. After posting my Handyman's Perfect Toolkit for Me video last week, A Bunch 47 wrote, slightly annoyed that the video didn't end with you putting everything in the bag and showing us that it does in fact fit neatly. I'm calling your bluff. It doesn't all fit in there. A Bunch 47, this is for you. I replicated this as closely as I could, well actually kind of perfectly. So watch this. This thing is it. With room to spare. Actually, this could be in a bit tighter. There we go. That's it, my friend. Everyone, have a good and safe weekend. Thank you. One last thing. If you wonder where this goes every time, yeah, that hissing sound all of a sudden just started up. I thought I'd hit something. It's my neighbor across the street. Now, have a great weekend, everyone. Bye. Hope you liked it. Bye.